Team Dune Prophecy. Thank you for being here with CBR today. Welcome to New York Comic Con. Great to see you all.
Pleasure.
And congrats on the series so far. I'm really digging it. We've gotten to see a little bit in advance of this interview. People are going to really enjoy this thing for multiple reasons. There are prequels, and then there are prequels, and that's what I'm going to call this thing, because it goes back 10,000 years. So Alison, Jordan, let's start with you guys. I mean, how daunting is it not only to expand on the universe, the cinematic universe that Denis had established with these first two films, but to take it so far back to go, okay, we're gonna be in the same sandbox, pun intended, but we're gonna start so far back, and somehow these worlds are gonna connect in I think some sort of metaphysical way.
Well, it was thrilling and terrifying, of course, because Denis set the bar so high with the movies, and I think really unlocked Dune as a sort of story for so many people, and we certainly were inspired by that. But like you said, we're 10,000 years before. We're in a different medium, and how do we put together a show that can live in the same universe and be as enjoyable? And
can I just interrupt here and say that our writers chose to set our planet not as sunny and sandy, so we're not in a sandbox. They chose a damp planet.
Right. Yes.
We were constantly hosed down with water to make us all look and be a little more damp.
Next time, behave.
Yes. They're on the beach, you're in the water, basically. Yeah.
It's very, very mossy.
Yeah.
No, please. I mean, we hope people are. I think that's one of the exciting things about the show is we're going to be on different planets and as well as at a different time period. So there was a lot of freedom.
We call it 10,000 years BC, before Chalamet.
Well, there you go. Dune. Travis, thank you.
I warned you.
The thing about 10,000 years into the future in Dune proper, when you have Paul Atreides, everything about his story is created, not everything created by the Bene Gesserit. Mm-hmm. So by being able to go all the way back in time, it allows us to tell this really kind of interesting foundational story about how that organization came to be. Mm-hmm. And that's what's exciting about kind of going way, way back and seeing all these institutions fall into place. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I also like to say that, 10,000 years before the birth of Paul Atreides, a prophecy called for a different kind of hero, and that's a Harkonnen. Mm-hmm. And that really is the cool thing about our show.
Yeah, which brings us to the Harkonnen sisters. Emily and Olivia, tell us a little bit about joining the Dune universe. And the Bene Gesserit have always been some of the most beloved characters, whether or not people consider them antagonists or heroes. They sort of are there's, I think, those really the richest type of characters where they sort of sit right in the middle. But tell us about finding them.
Well, as actors, I'm sure Olivia will agree with me that it is the most delicious dish to get your teeth into, because these are really, really properly like a messed up family right from the off. But they're also they have a finger in every pie and sort of trying to control the universe. And Olivia and I, when we first got the job, we went to the National Portrait Gallery in London, and we looked at pictures of the Elizabeth I and the Tudors and all of those women who was that sort of incredibly powerful, controlling women in history. That was quite fun. It was a good day out.
Take that forward, definitely. And I feel that the sort of stepping into the shoes of basically, I knew I was onto something vast when the man who was fitting my TV, and I told him I was playing Tula Harkonnen, and he knelt down at my feet.
That's
and
amazing.
I was like, okay, I need to honour this inheritance that I've just acquired.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And Travis, Desmond, seems also ambiguous in his own ways from the early goings of this series. Seems like he's shaping up. I think, to be an antagonist to the Bene Gesserit, which I don't think would work out well for him. But nobody wants to get on the wrong side of them. But maybe not. I don't know. I don't know how much you can sort of reveal about your character, but he seems like he's in a very complex situation entering this story.
Yeah, he's certainly a pretty complex character, but that's what really intrigues me about the show is you don't know who's a good guy or the bad guy, and when you think somebody is a good guy, they turn out to be the bad guy, and same with the chicks. But the whole thing's a riddle to me, and I said in the last interview, if you like riddles, I think this show would be right down your alley. You know, it's not. You don't have to be a science fiction person or anything. You want to work out and be intrigued and watch a whole series where it gets the journey just gets more complicated and intriguing. I think this show's got a bit for everybody. If you want to work out, you know, what characters are like.
I mean, it's part of the fun, isn't it? Who
are you going to vote for?
It's about the
Jordan?
moral ambiguity.
No, true. Who are you going to vote for, Jordan?
Yeah, it's about the moral ambiguity of all the characters.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, it's kind of fun to see who breaks bad, who breaks good. And again, to echo what Travis said, you know, the thing about Dune is it offers a multitude of variety of entertainment. We have political intrigue, we have romance, we have action and adventure, horror. I mean, it's giving something for everyone.
Mm-hmm. It's really cool, I think, for Dune fans to see this universe expanding right now because, you know, everyone has been in love with these movies, and rightfully so. And, you know, we have Star Wars, something like Star Wars that is going in so many different directions. And this again, I don't know, I keep saying sandbox, it's just popping in my head. It's just so rich with amazing characters and amazing aesthetic and mythology. You know, and the Bene Gesserit are sort of right in the forefront of that mythology because they're such a rich sisterhood. How much did you guys? I know obviously there's the book Sisterhood of Dune.
Sure.
But you know if you really study Dune, you learn about all the other sort of influences that went behind them, whether it's like Islamic or Greek influences. What can you guys say about how you sort of formed this sisterhood? What you dug into? Obviously the book, but what were the other sort of resources?
We kind of tripped over the Tudor families, but, you know, talking of sisters, Elizabeth I and Mary Queen of Scots were sisters, and anybody who knows what happened to Mary Queen of Scots might be interested about what families can do to each other. And sisters can love each other but be fighting for attention at the same time. And I know that as a sister and having two daughters, that the absolute oxymoron of love that there is in families is what this show is about.
Yeah, and I think that it's an incredible time to be a Dune fan, as one myself, and obviously to have the privilege of creating in this universe, but it does feel very timely. And I think it always is a very prescient work, but, you know, as we're watching the rise of artificial intelligence, and then to be creating a series that's on the other side of that, you know, when humans have fought a war against thinking machines and won, but at what cost, and seeing the role of technology at a totally different time period in a distant future where we've, you know, regressed in some ways, but we're still talking about charismatic leaders and the stories we tell and what's truth and what's lies. And I think it does have a lot to speak to in this historical moment.
Yeah, I mean, it's an essential thing of the story. Like Valia Harkonnen says early on, that her truth lies in prophecy. And that means that, you know, controlling the narrative, controlling the flow of information, she who controls the narrative controls the future.
Yeah, and I mean, speaking of narrative, like I think just we is something about us as a species, like we have to compare everything to something else. And one of the comparisons, I don't know, it's surprising how the prophecy is drawing so far beyond the actual films is Game of Thrones. And when you guys hear that, obviously it was a brilliant series. Like when you guys hear that, do you say, no, that's cool, we embrace that, or like, no, don't judge us like so early on?
Nobody could deny that Game of Thrones is an astonishing show, and if the influences of that are a good thing, I wouldn't want to diss them in any way. But also there is the element in this one of a sisterhood and the influence of women, and you have effectively a convent and where the women are controlling the universe.
And you can always just watch both.
Sure, indeed.
There's room for everybody.
Yeah.
We can share.
That's right.